somewhat of interest, but it didn't happen. So here we are.
And in the Bay Area, in San Francisco, my shouts out to the Bay Area sports. It's been a great run. Any sport, right? Hockey, basketball, baseball, football. I miss football, but, baseball is starting to pick up a little bit. I will be watching the Giants, watching the A's, once the All-Star break's over and then the games, each and every game. The exciting thing about baseball and other sports like that, each and every game at that point becomes more and more meaningful, more and more important. The wild card positioning is a little bit exciting. So hopefully the Giants remain where, in a good spot where they're at. They can make another run towards the series. That'll be exciting. We're looking forward to the Niners next year. The Raiders can't get any worse, so that's a good thing. And then, like basketball, so we had some disappointment, but, we had the Sharks and the Warriors. They were in the hunt for a while. It was a little bit exciting, but, there's the disappointment of getting knocked out of the playoff run. So I was, probably more disappointed, as were most fans in the Bay Area, with the Sharks' performance.
Right.
Compared to the Warriors' performance. I mean, the Warriors were a surprise to a lot of Bay Area sports fans. But our expectations for football are pretty high, I'll tell you. The excitement for the Niners and what they're doing, the expectation. Anything less than the Super Bowl victory in 2014 is going to be a disappointment for the Bay Area. So that's where we're at. And that's, to me, that's sitting on top of the sports world when you're in that position and say, hey, this is our year to win it. It's the same as if you're in Alabama, probably. You're on the hot seat right now, Nick Saban.
I'll tell you this.
The expectation is that you're going to win. Anything short of that is going to be disaster.
I saw the best caption ever 3 days. It was a little baby. And I mean a little baby. I'm going to find this post, and I'm going to actually post it on our website, and I'm going to also post it on our Facebook page, which is First in Life, by the way, guys. www.firstandlife.com. But it was a picture of a little baby, and in the background it had some two NFL teams playing, and it clearly it was a simple caption. It said, "Is it football season yet?" Like, basically, nothing else matters. And then I saw another one that said 90 days away from the first kickoff in the preseason. I was like, wow, that's 3 months. You don't even realize that it's just right around the corner, because we are technically right into June. So it's like, wow, we're about to be back into the season again when all is well in the neighborhood, because we know football holds true to its name. That's the most important sport in this country. I think so. So I know we've been a little bit biased here, but if you are out there and if you would like to call in, we would invite our guests to call in to 714-510-3759. Again, that's 714-510-3759, where you could obviously ask us some questions and give us some of your comments and your thoughts and your comments. But as I told you early on in the show, we had a special guest, and she will be coming on here in probably another 2 minutes or so. We're going to take a quick break, and then we will welcome her to come in. So you're listening to First in Life with Corey Lucci and Steve Boyd.
You're listening to First and Life on Blog Talk Radio.
And we're back. So without
that was quick,
Steve, we're gonna that was a very, very quick one. We're gonna bring on Miss Theresa Cummings with Cummings Management LLC. I hope I'm saying that right. Theresa, are you there?
Yes, I am, Corey. How are you?
How are you? I'm well.
Welcome to First in Life, Theresa.
I know, man. How did I get this honor? I cannot believe you guys asked me to be on the show, but I am truly thankful for that. It gives me a chance to practice some of my speaking skills that I continuously try to improve. So thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Well, I'll say you got the honor because you happen to know one of the hosts, but that's our little secret. So anyway, I'm joking. I'm joking. Go ahead, Steve. I'm sorry.
I bet you never knew that knowing Corey would get you so far.
I know, right?
Oh my God.
Knowing people in high places, and you're next, Steve. I'm going to get to know you too, and I'll be just doubly successful, right?
Absolutely, and I have high expectations for this call, as you know, and our audience probably knows from the write-up that you are here to not only talk about yourself and what you do, but also to help us, to coach the coaches, to help get First in Life in a position where we can add content and programming and go out and help people in their daily lives. So you got a big task ahead of you. That's all I can say.
Well, I will do my best. I will do my best.
So let's not waste any time here. Let's talk about Theresa and where you're at, what you do, why you do it, all that good stuff. So, Corey, do you want to take the lead on this and
I think that's a great point. I was going to honestly start with how does a person that has a degree in engineering, because guess what, I know I couldn't have survived over there, but how does a person with a degree in engineering end up going off and some 18 years later, start her own company and obviously I know you've worked with several different companies with Harley Davidson, Simmons, just to name an actual few. But how is it that you went from engineering to essentially corporate training, coaching, mentoring, resource management? How did you get there? Tell us that.
Well, first of all, I was not looking to be in training. It found me, and then I discovered it was my passion. When I was a junior at University of South Carolina, majoring in mechanical engineering, I knew that I was not going to be an engineer. I was not going to be a designer. I was more of a people person. So I put in the back of my mind, okay, I'm where I am where I am in my junior year of college. It's less expensive to finish out what you started. So I knew that changing over to a math degree or education would be maybe 2 more years, but I also knew what an engineering degree as a black female would get me. And I strategized, having a plan in my mind that, okay, I'll finish this out. What it says to the world on paper is that I'm analytical, I'm disciplined, and I'm a very focused and achievable person. So I can leverage that anywhere within any
and Theresa, excuse me, I don't want to skip over that point. You said as a black woman to be seen as an engineer, analytical and everything. Can you just describe for us what that means for you?
Well, what it means for me is that I developed the discipline just taking the classes in engineering that corporate America loves. The whole organizational, systematic, strategic planning aspect of the corporate world. It gave me more or less like a reprogramming of my brain in the way you think about things, in the way that you just don't get maybe in another major, maybe in a business major, but it's more of a disciplined major. So there aren't a lot of black female engineers out there. I think it's getting more and more, and I'm meeting a whole lot more and more. And I think that field really appeals to black females in getting pretty much anywhere they want to go in any industry. A lot of my colleagues who are black females and engineers have gone on to marketing, have changed, over industries. They're in marketing, advertising. Some are actually even in training, and some of them have gone into the business world. So a lot of us actually don't stay in engineering. And
right.
that was an interesting thing for me. We still participate in the organizations like NSB, which is the National Society for Black Engineers, because it's a great network of people. So it's, to me, it's been a whirlwind of an opportunity for me in other aspects other than just the engineering world. And then you also discover your niche. If I'm a people person and I am also analytical, in a manufacturing world like Harley-Davidson on the shop floor building motorcycles, you can appease to the engineer on the floor as well as the shop floor employees, and you can mediate. I found that to be a niche for me to be a mediator between the two and get things done more often.
Right. So you found your niche. What is your message to the world?
Well, my message is you have to find out what you love to do and just do it. I think fear, in a lot of ways, was my issue in transitioning. I knew I didn't want to be an engineer. I graduated. I went to Harley. 9 months later, I was promoted into a training position. Before that, I had done some substitute teaching in high schools. I come from a family of educators and high achievers. So I tried out the substitute teaching, and I loved it, but I knew that I wanted to do it on a higher scale. So when I took my job first out of school at Harley-Davidson, 9 months later they asked me, there was a role that was not even created yet. They asked me to take on a role to help develop high-performance work teams for Harley-Davidson in the assembly area, which was about 600 employees. So you're taking an employee that has an average of 15 years experience that have been doing the same thing the same way for 15 years, and now you're asking them to think differently. That, to me, was more intriguing than opening a book with an equation that you can solve a problem to from an engineering perspective, because it takes different things to grow Corey than it does to grow Steve than it does to grow me. That's a softer science, and that was more challenging in my mind to more or less, develop. So there I was able to achieve certification and training, an international certification called DDI, which is Developed Dimensions International. And I was blown away because 2 years ago I called them and they said, you are now able to train over 120 classes within DDI. So that was a big money investment that Harley made for me that I now appreciate. So, and it took research, a lot of just making mistakes. In the classroom, I love being in the classroom. So that's where a lot of my growth came from.
Do you like being at the head of the classroom or in the middle of the classroom or in the back?
Well,
the head.
If you were in my class, you would probably see me in the front, in the back, in the middle, all over.
Right. I just know, Corey, I'm totally guessing on this, but, like the football players are usually in the back of the class. If you go into a college campus somewhere, you want to find the football team, they're going to be sitting in the back. Walking in early.
Steve, I must confess to you, and this is the absolute truth. One of the reasons that I attest to me not only graduating, but graduating on time and starting grad school was very first day I sat in the front of the class. I would never forget, I had a dean. His name was Dean Varney. He goes, kid, I don't know what it is about you, but I like you. And if I can give you one word of advice, make sure you build a rapport with every one of your professors. He goes, and you cannot do that in a college campus environment / setting, because some of those classes, we had 300 people in there. He goes, you're a big guy. He goes, but you cannot do that if you're sitting at the back. You can't see that. Obviously, you can't do that if you walk in late. But you can do that if you get there early. He was like, on time is late. So at least 5 minutes early. And Steve, I kid you not, those little basic principles, man, I laugh about it to this day. But, I mean, as crazy as this sounds, I had to read the book. I had to study. I had to take the actual test. But I can assure you this, if I was borderline, say, a C, high C versus a passing B, I guarantee you, I probably got a nod there and said, you know what, I'm gonna go ahead and roll this into a fee. And I'm not embarrassed to actually say that, because listen, dude, you talking to somebody that hated